A surveyor determines that the angle of elevation to the top of a building from a point on the ground is 30 degrees. Okay, let's draw that. Here's our point on the ground. We're a ways away from a building. Here's the building. We're going to call its height h. And as we look up to the top of that building, this angle is 30 degrees. She then moves back 55 feet and determines that the angle of elevation is now 24 degrees. So moves back away from the building 55 feet, looks up to the top of the building now, and it is 24 degrees for the angle of elevation. Estimate the height of the building to the nearest foot. Now, as we look at this picture, there are actually three triangles. There is the first right triangle that we drew, and then there's a second bigger right triangle that has this green hypotenuse and comes over and includes the side H, and then there's also an oblique triangle right here. And as we look at each of the pieces, for the two right triangles, we just have an angle inside of each one, and that's the only thing we know, and that's not going to be enough information then to solve the triangle. So let's look at the oblique triangle, and I have an angle and I have a side. I need three pieces of information, but I can get at this obtuse angle because it's a straight line with 30 degrees, so this must be 150 degrees. So in the oblique triangle, I've got angle, side, angle, so I could solve for any of the other pieces of the triangle. Well, let's solve for this side, we'll call it x, because then I could go to the big right triangle and I would have an angle and I would have a side, and I'd be able to find the other side because it's a right triangle. So let's do this. We're going to use the law of sines. So I have, first of all, x over the sine of 150 degrees equals 55 over the sine of, I don't have the angle opposite the side 55, but I can easily find it because I've got 150 plus 24, that's 174. They have to add up to 180, so this has got to be 6 degrees. So sine of 6 degrees. Now I can multiply the sine 150 over here, and then I can get the calculator. First thing I do is make sure I'm in degrees, and I am. So then I put in 55 sine of 150, parenthesis to finish that, divided by sine of 6. And it looks like I get 263.086, so x is about 263. Now I'm going to use the value that was in the calculator when I need to use x so that I won't have a rounding error, but it's about 263. If I look at this big right triangle, I see that I have an angle 24, and I know a side x, and the side I want to find is h. So I'm looking for a trig function to connect that, and I can see that it is sine. The sine of 24 degrees equals opposite, which is h, over hypotenuse, which is x. So h is going to be x times the sine of 24 degrees. That will tell me the height of the building. I'm going to bring my calculator back, and I've already got that x in my calculator, so I need to just multiply that by sine of 24. And it looks like to the nearest foot my height is 107 feet. So this building is about 107 feet tall.